We've all felt this way, sweaty, blushing, wanting to cry and very sorry. In those moments, we just want the earth to swallow us and disappear from the face of the earth. However, haven't you had that feeling of tranquility after you said what you felt? Yes, even after being rejected. To get rid of all the doubts, the what-ifs, and the constant questions. They just set you free. So is rejection bad or good? One of the main ideas of rejection philosophy is that contempt is not an isolated event, but is related to other aspects of our lives, such as our self-esteem, our beliefs about love, and our relationships with others. Yes, we all want to be reciprocated, but that's not always how life is. We don't always get what we want when we want it, but we can use that rejection to our advantage. Now it is our job to put into practice all the learning and spiritual growth that Stoicism has enlightened us about. Are you ready to know how to deal with rejection and use it to your advantage? I assure you that person will regret it. Okay, you've made it to the right channel, but first please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you're informed when more videos like this are uploaded. Now, without further ado, start. How will Stoic philosophy teach us to accept rejection and use it to our advantage? How is it that rejection is really far from being a curse but a blessing? How can a philosophy of life do this? Philosophy arose in ancient Greece around the 6th century BC as an effort to understand the world and the place of human beings in it. The early Greek philosophers, known as the pre-Socratics, focused on the study of nature and the universe. They sought to understand the fundamental principles of reality and the origin of the world. Philosophy is a discipline that has evolved over the centuries and has given rise to a wide range of ideas and theories. Thus was born the Stoic philosophy. Stoicism was founded by Zeno of Citium, a Greek philosopher who lived in the 3rd century BC. Zeno taught that happiness comes from virtue, which is the ability to live in accordance with nature. Nature, according to the Stoics, is a rational and orderly system, and virtue is to live according to this system. Stoicism teaches us that when faced with something you can't control, it's best to remember that there's nothing we can do to change it. That's right. Focus on accepting the situation and finding ways to deal with it in a healthy way. Stoicism has been one of the most influential schools of philosophy in history. It has been adopted by philosophers, politicians, artists, and religious leaders around the world. Many years ago, this philosophy helped emperors to establish a rational lifestyle with nature, leaving behind the banal concerns of everyday life. Today, this philosophy, with more than 2,000 years of change and experience, provides human beings with virtuous antidotes to the difficulties of contemporary life. That's right. Stoicism will help you not only endure rejection, but use it to your advantage in order to live a more resilient life. The first thing we must get into our heads is that rejection is inevitable. The Stoics believed that rejection is a normal part of life. We all face rejection at some point in our lives. Therefore, it is important to accept rejection as inevitable and not let it discourage us. Don't look at rejection as a reflection of your worth as a person. This really has to do with personal preference. It doesn't mean you're not worthy of love, respect, or friendship. We simply are not able to change everyone's taste. And what is the reason for the taste? What determines what we like? The philosophy of what we like has its roots in ancient Greece, where philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle became interested in the nature of pleasure and happiness. In the Middle Ages, Christian philosophers focused on the role of taste in morality. In the modern era, philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and David Hume became interested in the relationship between taste and reason. Even today, the philosophy of what we like is an active field of study. We could say that our taste could be influenced by social and cultural factors, or perhaps it is a reflection of our values. The point is that there are many factors that determine what we like individually. Each person has parameters that they follow to influence our choices. It's so hard to figure out what makes us choose something that we feel bad about being rejected. It's not you. You just have to understand that taste is subjective. By understanding that, you'll ultimately take rejection differently. Marcus Aurelius said, "Rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but a measure of the incompatibility between you and the other person." Focus on what's in your control. Instead of worrying about the things you can't control, focus on the things you can control, like your thoughts, actions, and attitude. We can train our brains to be rejected. Remember that rejection is part of nature, and according to Stoicism, we must be one with nature. Not bad. Close your eyes and imagine a situation where you are rejected. How are you feeling? What thoughts come to mind? Once you've identified your reactions, try to accept them and not let them control you. Epictetus says, "Rejection is an opportunity to learn and grow." Reflect on what you can improve or change to avoid future rejections. Rejection can be a valuable source of feedback to help you identify your strengths and weaknesses and correct your mistakes or misunderstandings. Don't get stuck in the past, but focus on the present and the future. Look for ways to grow and progress as a person and as a professional. What should we learn from rejection? Why were we rejected? Let's analyze our being and let's work on it. Not to please a person, but for our own personal growth. Practice virtue. Remember that virtue is the key to Stoic happiness. Practice virtue in your daily life, being honest, fair, compassionate, and courageous. Epictetus regards virtue as the only thing that is good in itself. We can know our virtues by identifying them in the first place. Just so you know, the Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Once this is established, you need to reflect on your actions, i.e., are you acting according to your virtues? Is there anything you can do to improve your stock? Remember that in order to find resilience, we must practice virtue in our daily lives. It's not enough to reflect on your actions. You should also practice virtue in your daily life. This means being honest, fair, courageous, and moderate in your actions. This will not only make us much better people, but more confident in ourselves. Now, what rejection could harm or disrupt your life? By knowing your virtues, you will recognize that rejection does not and will not define your worth as a person. Your worth does not depend on the opinion or approval of others, but on your own virtue and wisdom. Don't let rejection make you doubt yourself or your abilities. Keep a positive attitude and trust in your potential. In the face of rejection, we must practice indifference to what is not in our control. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what depends on us and what doesn't, and to focus only on the former. Stoicism offers us a guide to living with wisdom and serenity in the midst of life's turbulence. It is not an abstract and distant philosophy, but a practice that helps us face challenges, emotions, and destiny with strength and dignity. Being Stoic does not mean being indifferent or resigned, but seeking authenticity and resilience in our way of being and acting. Stoicism is a refuge for the soul, a compass to orient us in the sea of existence. Let's look for resilience and perseverance. Rejection is inevitable, but it is not insurmountable. Stoicism encourages us to face difficulties with courage and determination, and not to give up in the face of obstacles or adversity. Don't let rejection discourage or paralyze you, but move forward with your plans and goals. Remember that success is achieved with effort and perseverance. According to Marcus Aurelius, resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It's the ability to face challenges and move forward. To cultivate resilience, we must reflect on the times we have been rejected in the past. How did you react? What did you learn from that experience? Reflecting on your past experiences can help you develop better strategies for dealing with rejection in the future. Aristotle, an ancient Greek philosopher, believed that rejection can be an opportunity to strengthen our self-esteem. Do you know Wolff's Law? This law postulates that bone tissue in a healthy organism has the ability to adjust in response to the mechanical loads to which it is subjected. Even though this law was established in the 19th century, monks have strengthened their bodies based on this theory. That is to say, if we hit a rock with our knuckles constantly, eventually when it heals, our hands will be much stronger. They will have adapted to the effort exerted on our bones. Seen in the same way, accepting rejection will strengthen our body, our soul, our being. We will grow and become better people. Rejection is a painful experience that we all face at some point in our lives. Want more tips like this to strengthen our minds? Visit our channel and you'll find what you're looking for. Subscribe and activate the notification bell so that you are informed when more Stoic thoughts go up. Okay, let's continue. Let's use rejection as a way to find new alternatives to find success. When we are rejected, we have a better chance of succeeding. We are on the right track. Alone, don't give up. Walt Disney was turned down by 300 banks before getting a loan to finance his first feature film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The rejection made him more determined to achieve his dream of creating a successful animation studio. Stephen King was rejected by 30 publishers before Carrie, his first novel, was published. The rejection made him stronger and motivated him to keep writing. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, her first novel, was published. The rejection made her more persistent and motivated her to continue writing. These are just a few examples of how rejection can be a positive force in life. For great entrepreneurs, rejection can be an opportunity to learn and grow, and it can help them achieve their goals. Stoic philosophers such as Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus teach us that rejection is not something that happens to us, but something that we interpret. That is, rejection does not depend on the actions or words of others, but on how we judge them and give them meaning. As Marcus Aurelius says, if you grieve over anything external, it is not it that bothers you, but the judgment you make of it. Well, you know. Use rejection as a stimulus to improve. Instead of lamenting or giving up, we can use rejection to reflect on our strengths and weaknesses and look for ways to grow and progress. As Seneca says, there is no favorable wind for him who does not know where he is going. Before we go, I'll tell you something interesting. In 1965, during the US-Vietnam War, US Navy pilot James Stockdale was shot while flying over enemy country. The young man did not know that he would spend 7 years as a prisoner of war of the Vietnamese, and that a philosopher who had lived in Greece in the 1st century AD would become his great teacher and friend, helping him endure unimaginable suffering. The philosopher's name was Epictetus and his philosophy Stoicism. According to James's biography, this philosophical school comforted him during his long years of captivity. Use Stoicism to get out of the difficulties that afflict you. You know, on this channel you can find more videos like this. Okay, now let's say goodbye.